Tell you what, we already had one issue this weekend with a number 1 seed going down, not even making it to the round of 32. The round of 16. How does that happen? I look at some of this stuff, and I'm watching at the gym yesterday as this goes on, and then boom, this happens right there in front of our eyes.
In it comes to Braden Norris. Not going to foul. They're going to dribble this one out. Illinois has said, that's it. Loyola Chicago. As Norris dribbles at half court, pumping his fists, hugs and handshakes all around. And how about this one at Bankers Life Fieldhouse in Indianapolis? 2018's Cinderella just got a repeat invite to the Sweet 16. The Loyola Chicago Ramblers have upset the number 1 seed, Illinois, 71-58, dominating the Illini, leading from wire to wire.
A very impressive outing there by the folks from Loyola Chicago, putting Rye Brackett into the toilet. Just terrible.
That is completely wrong.
Exactly. You know, I thought that Illinois had a great chance. I kind of cheated a little bit. I got with Terrence Oglesby, friend of the program. And Terrence tells me, oh, hey, Rob, I really like Illinois too. And I was kind of liking them. I'm not going to sit here and try to throw it all on Terrence, even though he's supposed to be our basketball expert. And it shows he didn't know much. Pretty much a mess with all of that. Illinois is out. There's also the other stat that was great to me from over the weekend. First of all, South Carolina and North Carolina went a combined 0-5 in the NCAA tournament. So as far as our state goes, hot dog water, ladies and gentlemen. That's pretty much what our state and the state to the north. Normally we have at least one team that's in this mix. No, not so much. Not so much at all. Then it comes down to Texas. And this is the greatest stat for me. The state of Texas went 6-1 in the first round of the NCAA tournament. The only team to lose was Texas. How in the world does that happen? You're the number one. You're the biggest university in the state, had the highest seed in the state. And what happens? Nothing. What a mess. We'll take calls on that this afternoon at 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Edwin says, Iona lost. Let's go to baseball and spring football. You got to give Iona credit. They hung with Alabama. They really did. I got to check the conference records, and I don't like to ride conference coattails, but kind of a mess with the ACC not looking very good. Clemson drops their game. I have to apologize to some folks on the in the feed over here in the chat room. Yeah, the crazy thing about that is, who was it that someone's like, oh, that's an absolute lock that Rutgers is going to win. And I was like, you know what? I think Clemson has a chance. Yeah, that's not happening. Clemson goes and I don't know the word I can use to describe it on the air, but you watch that game, the last 90 seconds of it were complete trash. I mean, absolute trash. They looked like they had no clue. They really did. And there were some parts of that I thought that Clemson would have issues with. They shot really well from the free throw line. I think they missed one free throw on the night. But if you just look at it from the perspective of, if we'd have flipped the jerseys, you would have thought that Clemson would have had I think Clemson had the better team, but they lost. And tournament time is when it matters. It's pretty crazy. If you want to respond to any of that, 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. One ACC team actually did pretty good, and not a lot of folks were thinking that they would, and of course, that would be the Orange.
The inbound to Buddy Boeheim, and the celebration is on for the Orange. They've advanced to the Sweet 16 with a hard-fought 75-72 win over the West Virginia Mountaineers.
By the way, Bob Huggins, he looks like he doesn't care on the sidelines. I was watching some of that game yesterday. Bob Huggins looks like, I mean, he first of all, he looks like he's completely done with the pandemic. You know, he's like, all right, I'm wearing this mask so I don't get in trouble. But Bob Huggins looked like he was just not having it at all. So that was interesting, too, to say the least. On that matchup, though, a couple of other matchups that came through yesterday. Arkansas wins over Texas Tech 68-66. And then Oral Roberts, you know, I put it out on Twitter that, who was it? I can't remember who they beat in the first round, but X team lost to a Sunday school in the first round. Then that same Sunday school from Oral Roberts goes out and beats Florida. Gators led 67-56 midway through the second half. Then everything falls apart. It's pretty much what it boiled down to there for the Gators. Their coach, Mike White, was asked about UF slowing it down. He says, we were tired. You have to cover up so much of the floor defensively. I thought that part of us slowing it down would help us settle in with the erratic mistakes we were making. Not exactly you look at that and you think, Florida should be a better basketball program than Oral Roberts, but Oral Roberts is like, no, sir. No, sir, on that. So interesting setup with that there. You know, I mentioned Illinois losing to Loyola Chicago. By the way, how many shots of Sister Jean did they have? I mean, everything was about Sister Jean. And God bless her, 101 years old, still out there and motivating these young men. I'm all about that. I was just like, all right, we get it. Everyone loves Sister Jean. Very cool. Baylor advanced. They went over Wisconsin by 13. Rutgers loses by 3 to Houston. So there you go with that. Oregon State, by the way, they went over Oklahoma State, eliminating them 80-70. So we've got matchups today going on right now. Iowa lost earlier. So, yeah, we're dealing with that, too, as far as if your top seed in your bracket's pretty much going down the crapper. I think that's with a lot of us. It's kind of interesting because I think in my pool that I'm in, I think that everybody picked either Gonzaga or Illinois. We had one person pick Kansas, and I think one person picked who was it? Nobody picked Baylor. One person picked Michigan, which I'm pretty confident that Michigan is going to lose tonight. I think LSU is going to beat them tonight. USC Insider says, I really hope they win it for Sister Jean. Yeah. You know, I'm not bad-mouthing Sister Jean. My goodness. I'm just saying CBS is kind of over the top with the Sister Jean references. So there's that. Ohio State. Yes. Ohio State lost to said team here. But I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to talk about that. Which team disappointed you the most? It's easy for me. It's Illinois. How do you run through the Big Ten, which we've been told by the talking heads is the absolute best conference in the dawn of time? I'm starting to think the Big Ten in basketball is sort of like the Big Ten in football. You know, where they have the whole thing where, remember in football where they're just going to appoint Ohio State as their top team, and you're just supposed to deal with it because, hey, they're Ohio State and we're the Big Ten, and that's what we're going to go with here. You know, you're supposed to just believe that, okay? Because they think they know sports better than all of us over there in the Big Ten. Now they have the whole thing where the sports media machines behind them, where everybody's talking about, yeah, Illinois is awesome and Ohio State's awesome. Where are they at? I know where Oral Roberts is. They're playing games while Ohio State and Illinois are watching. Simple as that. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. David says, not if LSU doesn't play defense and rebound. Sir, I don't know if you've been watching the LSU games, but in the last, I think, 8 to 10 games, LSU's playing a little bit better basketball. I really believe that. All right, we'll take your calls on the tournament, 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. I've got some comments from Jordan Burch, the South Carolina linebacker, defensive lineman, whatever hybrid position he's playing. Some comments he made about Will Muschamp and Shane Beamer. We'll have those for you in just a little bit. Keeping you up to date, though, on the scores throughout the afternoon here. We've got, as we're rolling along here through the round of 32, wrapping that up. Let's see here. Gonzaga is winning over Oklahoma 38-30. Give you the full rundown here on all these games. Oregon blows out Iowa 95-80. 7 seed advancing in the tournament there. Also, Gonzaga, as I said, they lead by 8 over Oklahoma, about 4 minutes to go in the first half. Abilene Christian looking to advance as they will play UCLA. They just came in beating up on Texas, and now they got to do the stomp here with UCLA. Set out to the phones. And good afternoon. Welcome to the Rundown.
Hey, Rob. My bracket is totally blown.
How bad is it?
Oh, my God. I think I still have Duke in it. It's gone.
That's sad.
My new pick, Michigan.
Wait a minute. Why should we take your new pick when your old picks were so terrible?
My old pick was Illinois.
Well, you and I were on the same boat with that. We'll both have a shot glass of the dumb for that. I'm telling you, next year for the tournament, I will not pick a Big Ten team to win anything past the Sweet 16. Not happening.
I had Michigan and Illinois and Texas to get in the Final Four. Yeah, that didn't work out.
That didn't work out at all. Your bracket has more red in it than my checkbook in college.
It is terrible. And I can't understand why it doesn't happen on the women's side.
The women's seeds, I think they
all of them won.
All straight chalk on the women's side, man. You very seldom get a year where some of the women's games are that you'll have a 15 beat a 2. I don't think that's happened maybe once in the whole tournament.
There were teams beating each other by 50 points the other day in the women's side.
Yeah, there's that too.
The ones over the 16s. I mean, they were just crushing it. But
that's true.
Not the men.
Not the men. The men are different, man.
Yeah, Lord help them. Thank you, man.
Appreciate it, brother. All right, so his bracket's garbage right along with mine. Imagine that. Anyway, we'll have plenty of time to talk about the tournament. I've got some comments from Jordan Burch from South Carolina. First time they were able to actually talk to the media today. He talked a little bit about the differences between Beamer and Muschamp. Yeah, we'll get into that. Trevor online with a great comment. The talent gap in women's is much wider compared to men's. You are exactly right. I think that schools that fund it more, that actually fund the recruiting more, and they can go out and make trips to get good players and stuff like that. I think that's the key in women's hoops right now. So Trevor with an absolutely brilliant point there. Take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have that stuff from South Carolina's defensive lineman there. We'll have that for you in just a moment here on the Rundown. You're listening to Fox Sports Radio 1400. Y'all, I didn't fill out a women's bracket. That's sad, right? I should have. That's pretty much the same every year. South Carolina, UConn, Texas A&M, and I don't know. Pick your fourth one here. It used to be Notre Dame. Now they've fallen off the rig here. I'm drinking Spark today. I know you guys, some of you like to know what kind of, I'm trying to get away from the Red Bull. Baylor, yes, USC, and yes. They had that big, tall, what was her name? Brittany something or another. She's like almost 7 foot tall, and she could dunk. Yeah, there's that. You're exactly right, David. You're exactly right. I couldn't tell you, like, I was pretty hard set on Illinois. Yeah, it made me look stupid. Brittany Griner. Thank you, Jonathan. I'm drinking some this is Spark. That's what it's called. It's like an energy drink that doesn't have all the calories and all that other stuff in it. This is the pink lemonade flavor because I'm wanting it to be summertime. It's not that bad. It's really not. Well, welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Around the world on the iHeartRadio app. Trevor with another great comment here. All right, Trevor, our star for the day. We should have seen it coming. Loyola is actually ranked 9th in the KenPom. Yeah. I had Loyola losing in the first round. I mean, I'm going to wear this sounder out today. My bracket is garbage. Garbage. 803-978-1832. I've got some comments from Jordan Birch from South Carolina. Let's see here. Make sure I got my stuff together here. Yeah, so Jordan Birch met for the first time. He got to come out for the first time for South Carolina. And he talked a little bit about the differences between Muschamp and, of course, Shane Beamer. Here is what he had to say about that, as the first time we've actually gotten the opportunity to hear Jordan Birch since he actually committed to South Carolina.
It's been a wild ride. With Muschamp leaving, that was my guy. But, having Coach Beamer come in and take over the program, it's been a pretty smooth ride so far. Coach Kimmer's on status pretty good too. Having him around, it's just been pretty fun so far.
So there you go. Some comments from Birch there. And I've got one other one too. And this is what I want to talk about here. He talked a little bit about the differences in the scheme that the new defensive coordinator has, Coach White, compared to the old regime. Can I say regime? Is that the old, I don't know, the old staff, whatever term you want to use here. But here's the cool part about this. He seems to think that what he's capable of will actually help in this new setup that's come to town.
Some things they have are pretty similar. Coach Beamer coming in, he's more energetic, and it's like trying to push the program to go forward. Muschamp was trying to do the same as well, but, a change had to be done. So it's really how it was. It's kind of the same, little difference.
All right, so with that, but he also talked later on about, he thinks that, and I've got to find the clip on this, but he thinks that if the big thing with their new defensive coordinator, is they want to get after the quarterback. South Carolina only had 14 sacks last season. Birch ended up with 19 tackles on the year, I think is what his final stat line was. But if the Gamecocks are going to be successful, I think a lot of it, and I think this is with any defense, by the way, containing the run and sacking the quarterback. If you can do those two things, you can kind of mask what your secondary is. If your secondary is not that great, if the quarterback doesn't have the time to throw the ball out there you go. If you could stop the run and you have the capability to hit the quarterback, you're going to win some games, even if your secondary is not quite where you need it to be. I think that's the way South Carolina's going to go. They're going to go with the adage of, hey, we're going to hit the quarterback and we're going to stop the run. So we'll see how that works out for the Gamecocks. Just interesting there to hear about Birch and the way that things have gone with South Carolina. And the way that things are, they're different from when Coach Beamer was here. And, you know, I did cut up all of this, but it just seemed like when he mentioned Coach Beamer, it was more of almost like he wants people to know, hey, I was on the boat with Will Muschamp, but now I think Shane Beamer is the guy that can do the job. That's the vibe that I get from all of it. So with that, we'll take your calls, 803-978-1832. When you hear that, hey, you know, the change had to be made. He said that in one of the comments too. And he also said he never thought about transferring. That's a big deal. Because I assure you that, sir, if he wanted to go somewhere else, they would be lined up. Remember, he was highly sought after. I mean, Clemson wanted him. LSU wanted him. Pick him up, lay him down wherever you want. South Carolina he had a ton of guys or a ton of teams that wanted him to be a part of the program, but he wanted to be close to home. I think that's the way South Carolina has to recruit right now, too. You know, the whole win the state thing is very important right now. Very important. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Mr. Bloodline Online says, how about them Arkansas Razorbacks in the Sweet 16? I had Arkansas in the Sweet 16, by the way. I did. So the Hogs haven't hurt my feelings yet. But give them time. That's the way that I look at this tournament. Teams that I thought a lot of, give them time. They'll hurt your feelings. Coach Musselman, by the way, is a treasure, man. That guy can flat out coach. Jimmy says the teams in the men's draw with experience, juniors and seniors, are the teams winning the close game and or upsets. I think that's kind of typical with the NCAA tournament. Think about it. When you look at an NCAA tournament team, once they get down to the first 2 days are the greatest because you're going to see a lot of teams that you've never seen before. But the teams that generally advance are the teams that have the most seniors, the most juniors, and can generally shoot free throws well, and they have a good backcourt. That's kind of the way you look at the whole perspective of how to pick upsets and everything else. Now, I'm saying that with my bracket right now being complete toast because my national championship pick was, of course, Illinois. There's that, by the way. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you want to join us here on the Rundown this afternoon. Right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. Lots of folks upset with Illinois destroying their bracket. Some of the stuff that was out there on Twitter, man, was insane. Absolutely insane. So people get mad when their bracket gets garbage, man. I was at the gym yesterday and I noticed, I was like, how does that happen? I thought they were going to roll right through it. Yeah, not so much. Not so much at all. You know, that's in some realms, that's not really a big upset. As the one gentleman was saying earlier, they were ranked 9th in the KenPom. I just think they didn't have an opportunity to play as much, so we didn't really get to see them as much. The young man that's playing center for them has the big old mustache there. Some of the folks commenting about that, it's like, hey, he plays basketball during the day and he'll take your order at Advance Auto Parts overnight. Funny stuff there. (803-978-1832). Another comment. Oral Roberts was a sleeper, but is going down next to the Razorbacks on to the Elite Eight. You know, with the way that Arkansas plays, where they pressure you, you run up and down the floor a good bit. Arkansas is a team that could, with some of these teams that are out of the mix right now, they could win it all. Why not at this juncture? if you've made it to the Sweet 16, you know, you have a legitimate bone to say, hey, we have an opportunity that we can win the whole thing. And that's true. It really is. I know people are like, Rob, are you saying Oral Roberts has a chance? Well, nobody thought they had a chance in the first 2 games. Who's to say they can't win 2 more? Who knows? Abilene can win it all. You know, I don't think that Abilene will win it all, but they're not in the Sweet 16 yet, David. David's trying to slip me up online. That's fine. I'm all right with that. They're not in the Sweet 16, sir. Try to pay attention, sir. Try to stay focused, my friend. 803-978-1832. We'll run down the scores for today and schedule for tonight when we come back. You are listening to the Rundown here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. As always, around the world in the iHeartRadio app. Podcast for the show is up at 5 o'clock every day. I try to make it where it's very easy for you to get the show. Very simple. Several different ways you can get it. We'll take calls too as well. They're lining up 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you'd like to join us here on the Rundown. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. Oregon State, man. I mean, is there? I don't know, man. I don't want to sit here and try to sound like a college football expert right now because all of my picks have been garbage. Hot dog water and garbage. I'm thinking about bottling up hot dog water and sending it to some of these colleges. Here's your trophy for the year. Here's your trophy, Illinois. You were supposed to be great. Now you get a gallon of hot dog water made fresh right down here in the great state of South Carolina. All my funny bits are going to the online audience. The on-air people, they don't get this stuff, man. What a mess. That's a good question, Blake. Very good question, sir.
Rob Parker, here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by LifeLock Identity Theft Protection.
Broadcasting from the TrueCar.com studios. This is Columbia's Fox Sports Radio 1400.
803-978-1832. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Around the world on the iHeartRadio app. Thanks for checking us out today. A great comment online from Blake. It says the ACC gets about 9 teams in the tournament every year. They all lose except for a couple. There are only 2 teams left from the ACC by my numbers here. And I could be wrong. Gotta look at my full bracket. I know of 2 teams that are left. Syracuse and Florida State. North Carolina didn't win a game this year. First time in Roy Williams' career, he lost in the first round. Also, Clemson, of course, they got beat by the folks from the Jersey Shore. Then who else was in there? I mean, you know, it was up and down. Virginia, they lost. I mean, it was up and down. I don't think there's any ACC teams left except for Syracuse and Florida State. And Syracuse, by the way, they're a matchup problem simply because they've got a couple of guys that can do some scoring with Buddy Boeheim. And they also they play that matchup zone that's tough to defend, and you can't really simulate it. So, yeah, that's one of the big things there. The SEC is doing their job, though. Alabama's still in it. Arkansas is still in it. Arkansas, the SEC didn't have the same number of teams, but at least your tournament champions in there. Georgia Tech lost in the first round. So maybe there's something to that. And Blake's right about the Big Ten. The Big Ten has been worse. I was telling the folks over here, I'm going to just start boiling up hot dog water, and I'm going to ship it to some of these universities that have completely made my bracket terrible. We're going to start with Illinois. They get a gallon of hot dog water, an absolute gallon of it. There's that. Get the hot dog water award. Right now, it's for Illinois. Thank you for destroying my bracket. We appreciate you so much. Alabama does play tonight. Let's see here. Alabama plays at 8:45 tonight against Maryland, a team from the Big Ten that they didn't really tell us much about them. It was all about, hey, you know what? You should really look at Ohio State, and you should really look at Illinois. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I brought them to you here on the program. And if I influenced your bracket, I'm sorry. I will not do that anymore. The Big Ten is garbage across the board. I will not pick them to do anything anymore. If they beat me up one time, fine. Generally, though, they're not worth this half-empty bottle of hand sanitizer that we've got in here. They're not. Just saying. You know what? Blake's got a good point. Ohio State busted my bracket. Never again. Not picking them anymore. In fact, next season, when I do my bracket, I'm going to hold me to this now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to pick the SEC tournament champion to go at least 3 rounds. I'm going to pick the ACC tournament champion to go 3 rounds. Now, I know this year was a little bit different with Georgia Tech dropping their game, but Florida State kind of messed up a little bit there in the ACC championship game. I still think Florida State's going to do well. But for next year, to avoid that, I will pick Big Ten teams only through the first round. That way, my bracket is not completely busted from these folks in the Big Ten. I expect Alabama to knock Maryland into next month tonight. I really do. And I think LSU is going to beat Michigan as well. That's all. I've had that on my bracket forever. I thought LSU, that was one of the first matchups that I looked at. I was like, LSU is going to win their game. They're going to win 2 in a row. I like LSU in the Sweet 16. Angie says, what about about Gonzaga? Look, it's hard for me. I picked Gonzaga to go to the Final Four because their side of the bracket was not very good. But the last game that Gonzaga played where they were actually challenged. Now, I know they had a little bit of a, someone gave them a little bit of a run there in the WCC tournament. But the last game they played was in Virginia, against Virginia. They were supposed to play Baylor. That game was canceled due to COVID. So I don't really know what we've got with Gonzaga. Now, I've had folks that know a lot about basketball that they've told me point blank, Gonzaga's really good. They've got this, they've got that. Yeah, but they're playing against the West Coast Conference, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, forgive me if I look up and down the West Coast Conference and I don't really think of you as a basketball power. It's hard for me to sit here and say Gonzaga is this team that we should show just this enormous amount of respect for. And yes, they did win their conference, and I think they should be seated highly. But as far as thinking that they're going to win everything, that's kind of hard for me. It's kind of hard for me. So your teams from the West Coast Conference, you got Gonzaga, BYU, Loyola, Marymount, Pacific, Pepperdine, San Diego, the Portland. Okay. I'm just not buying it completely from the West Coast. I'm sorry. Blake says he watched the first half of Gonzaga, and a few of those guys are NBA guys for sure. Yeah, remember Adam Morrison? Adam Morrison convinced Michael Jordan that he was great. Good enough that Michael Jordan drafted him. I didn't work out too well. David says, half my Final Four is out. Ohio and the Illinois messed that up. Yeah. Trevor says BYU is a football school, and they're the second or third best program in the WCC. That's true. He says, Blake says, like, 2 of their players should be playing in the NBA right now, and that's fine. But I guess that they've got to show me. You know what I mean? Now, as far as for my bracket is, as far as that's concerned, the Gonzaga doing their thing is a big deal from here on out because I had them advance into the Final Four. I think Florida State beats them, though. I think Florida State beats them. I really do. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you'd like to join us here on the Rundown this afternoon on Fox Sports Radio 1400, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders, of course. We can talk about your brackets. We can talk about what Jordan Birch said about the emphasis for the South Carolina defense this year is going to be to get to the quarterback. Makes you wonder, why didn't they do that last year? You talked about some of the guys that are on this team. Yeah, I know the secondary was a strength last year, but if I had my way, looking back, after you dropped your whatever, the 4th game of the season, I'd have told my defensive linemen, we're going to hit the quarterback every time. We're getting burnt in the secondary anyway. Might as well try to just beat people up. Not necessarily beat them up to hurt them, but I think if you're the quarterback, the defensive lineman should at least touch you every play. Or at least walk up to you. Hey, I didn't get to you this time, but I'm still coming. That's what I've trained my guys to do. Conference USA got 1 team in the tourney. Should have been 2. That's good. Angie says, too bad you didn't have a friend that lives out west and knows all those teams. I don't have any friends. What are you talking about? That's why I'm in a box by myself. Put Rob in a box. Let him talk to people, but don't let him out. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. I wouldn't believe my friends out west anyway. By the way, the Pac-12 is like, I thought they were like 6-1, 7-1, some ridiculous number the first round. Yeah, they are what the Big Ten was supposed to be. We were just too stupid over here on the East Coast to put them in our brackets. Eight 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you want to join us here on the Rundown. Final segment when we come back. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. Yeah, 8-0. Jimmy's my friend. I like Jimmy. We drink together. Trevor, you're welcome to come to the show every day because you bring valid points that even if I don't necessarily agree with them, they're not stupid. So feel free to join us every day, sir. We're on 3 to 4. Of course I like you. What are you talking about, Angie? Everybody likes Angie. Love the interaction online. I got to read you some of these tweets. Oh, my goodness.
A non-attorney spokesperson. Attention all women who have been diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Johnson & Johnson's baby powder and shower-to-shower talcum products have been linked to ovarian cancer. In February and May 2016, Johnson & Johnson was ordered to pay $72 million and $55 million by 2 juries to 2 women who contracted ovarian cancer after years of using talcum baby powder products. If you or a family member has been diagnosed with ovarian cancer and used talcum powder prior to the diagnosis, call Talcum Powder Help Now today at 800-833-0112.
Barkley's real, man. I like Barkley.
The consultation is free and you'll pay nothing unless there is a recovery in your favor. Don't fight this alone. If you or a loved one used talcum baby powder-based products before being diagnosed or died from ovarian cancer, call Talcum Powder Help Now at 800-833-0112. 800-833-0112. 800-833-0112.
Paid for by Bar Justice.
It's funny though. The more and more I look at my bracket, the more and more I think, how dumb are you? I'm not even going back to listen to the podcast. How stupid was I with some of my stuff in my bracket? Holy crap. I picked Tennessee to win. Nothing good comes out of Tennessee. What is wrong with me? I blame some of y'all. Y'all should have slapped me upside the head and said, Illinois is not worth a damn. Spread the blame out a little bit.
Listen to win $1,400 checks every weekday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Fox Sports Radio 1400.
Well, welcome back to the Rundown. Final segment this afternoon here on Fox Sports Radio 1400 in Columbia. Thanks so much for joining us today. Appreciate the folks interacting online. Someone, we will not say who it is, retweeted the Iron Sheik at me this morning. The Iron Sheik, by the way, is my favorite follow on Twitter, but this is what someone who follows me on Twitter retweeted at me from the Iron Sheik. Don't be a blanking no good piece of blanking garbage, low life MFer. Wake up and suplex the earth, you dumb SOB. Hashtag Monday motivation. That's what I wake up to this morning on my Twitter feed. Thanks for that. By the way, shout out to @ThrillsMills, who is a very passionate individual. He sent me a message about 5 minutes ago. Of course, you can respond on Twitter as well. That Rob sounds good. He says, my bracket looks like a crime scene. Of course it does. Mills was actually leading our pool like after the first day. Now he's boiling in the hot dog water with the rest of us. There you go, Mills. NCAA tournament time. I get to use that a lot, by the way. Also, I just kind of wanted to go over a couple of things here with my bracket before we get out of here. And I have to apologize to Lawton Swan. He didn't invite me into his pool, by the way. Normally, I'm in a nice big pool with Lawton Swan. You know, Lowell, the former intern, he's in it. They didn't invite me this year. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I said things like we should draw a line down Lawton's head to look like a butt. Maybe it's because Lawton's he's doing the COVID pool where you have to be a resident of Castle Day Swan to be in the pool, because even getting one, I don't know, faxed, emailed to him might bring the COVID to him. I don't know. I wasn't invited to that. In the grand scheme of things, though, Lawton would probably tell me, you didn't invite me to your pool either. Anyway, looking back at my bracket, the biggest mistakes I made, obviously, were, of course, the Illinois. And then, also in the first round, I had Mizzou. I almost got UC Santa Barbara, ladies and gentlemen. I thought the Gauchos, their logo is pretty cool with the, I don't know, it's like the cowboy hat or whatever. I was correct on Ohio. I was correct on Southern Cal. Oregon didn't play. So, I mean, they didn't play VCU, but I picked Oregon anyway. Iowa, had them winning. So, yeah, that's good there. I did pick Michigan, LSU, Colorado, Florida State. BYU got, I picked BYU to beat UCLA. I thought that UCLA was going to lose to Michigan State. That game was very, very close in the play-in there. I didn't pick Abilene Christian. I did pick Maryland. I picked Alabama. I picked Baylor. I picked North Carolina to win. There you go with that. What's wrong with me? Ugh. Purdue. I picked them. North Texas. Where? I guess North Texas is in North. of Texas? I don't know. Texas is so big, they just divided into zones: North Texas, South Texas, West Texas, whatever. Arkansas, I did pick them. I picked Virginia Tech. The first game of the tournament, lost. First day, I went 8-8. That's terrible. Loyola Chicago beat up on Georgia Tech. I did pick Loyola Chicago in the first round because Georgia Tech lost their best player. So there's that. Oregon State, I picked Tennessee. How bad did Tennessee look? Oregon State dominated that game. Oklahoma State, I did pick them. I did pick Syracuse. West Virginia, I picked the Jersey Shore beating up on Clemson by 4. And I did pick Houston in the first round. Let's take a call really quick before we get out of here. 803-978-1832. And hold on, let's see here. My phone's jacked up here. You have to call back there, buddy. 803-978-1832. That is the number to call if you want to join us here on the rundown, as my phone system's acting silly today. I got to fill out a form to get it to the engineering folks. 803-978-1832. 803-978-1832. The second round was a little bit better. I did pick Houston to win. I had Clemson in the Sweet 16. Got to play it again. Idiot. What is wrong with you, Rob? I did have Syracuse winning. So I have Syracuse advancing to the Sweet 16. Look at me. And then I'm hot dog water on the other side. I had Tennessee winning over there. That didn't help me. I had Illinois beating Loyola Chicago. Oral Roberts winning over Florida. I did not have that. Did not have that. I don't think very many people did. You would think with just the bodies that they have, Florida would have been able to do something a little bit better than that, but Oral Roberts got it done. So, yeah, Villanova picked up their win. I think I had Winthrop beating Villanova. Yeah, what a mess. What an absolute mess. The UCLA Abilene Christian game starting at 5:15 to there. Yeah, not happening. Blake says my bracket was ACC biased. No, it wasn't, sir. I had LSU in the Sweet 16. I had Alabama winning some games. It's not biased. I'm not biased on anything. What are you talking about? Trying to call me out for being biased, man. That's not nice. Let me see here. I'm kind of, for the Sweet 16, I had Gonzaga and Ohio, Southern Cal, and I had Iowa. I have LSU and Florida State. I had Texas and Alabama, Baylor, and I had Purdue. I had Arkansas and Oral Roberts. I have Arkansas in the Elite Eight, by the way. So yeah, my bracket's not. I've got I got 2 ACC teams, 2 SEC teams. In the Elite Eight, I've got Gonzaga, Florida State, Alabama, Baylor, Arkansas, and West Virginia. So I think if you're going to say my bracket is biased, it's probably more biased to the SEC as far as down the road. The Big Ten, they screw me, but it will not happen again. Write that down. Until they win the either the college football playoff or the NCAA title, I'm not picking the Big Ten or anything. It's not happening. Next year, remind me of this. I'm going to cut this piece of audio and put it in my archive folder. And basically point to myself and say, hey, idiot, do not ever pick the Big Ten to go far because it ends up biting you in the face. Blake says I picked all those ACC teams to make it out of the first round. If you look at just from Las Vegas, other than Syracuse, all those ACC teams were favored except for Clemson. It's not really biased. The Ohio pick was probably my best pick of the tournament just because it worked out for me. The rest of it is insanely bad. We'll talk more about South Carolina spring practice tomorrow. We'll get into more tournament stuff tomorrow. I'll try not to be biased, Blake. Biased towards the ACC. That's some funny stuff there. I'm biased towards, when it comes to my pool, I'm biased towards winning. I only like the green, man. Yeah. By the way, Lawton Swan of Clemson Sports Talk is next. He is the czar of Clemson Sports.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
Be sure to follow him on Twitter. He's at Clemson Sports Talk. Follow me on Twitter. I'm at Rob Sounds Good. My tweets are very interesting here in the tournament time. To share you a couple of these really quick here. All of them were basically kind of silly. Let's see here. I had... I hear they're lobbying for Illinois and Ohio State to join the Final Four from the Big Ten. Illinois lost to a Sunday school. Tennessee's a gong show. Retweeting Oral Roberts about the brackets torn up. Yeah, that's what you get for following me on Twitter. Matt Rob Sounds Good. Appreciate you guys so much as always. We'll be back at it tomorrow right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Biased. Come on, Blake. Come at me with better stuff than that. All right, you guys are awesome. Thank you for joining me today, man. We're building a little audience over here. I like it. You guys are always welcome to reach out to me on Twitter or whatever if you got something you want to talk about. And let people know you listen, because it's like doing this show is, I do all kinds of other stuff here at iHeart, but I do this show because I like it. Like, this is what I wanted to do when I was a kid. So all the other stuff, production and traffic and all that. Yeah. So let's have a nice big community of folks. I don't get anything off of it. Just saying. It's part of my day that I enjoy. Yes, Rick Barnes screws us all over. You're right, Blake. See you guys tomorrow, all right? You guys take care.